Well, we're all about Hunkydory's new collection. It's called Forever Florals Deck the Halls. So many things. And they've got a really interesting additional piece, which is this, some acetate festive jars that are foiled on the edges. In fact, Heidi has used it in this one where she's allowed it to bow up really, really pretty. Please come play with us. Well, let me show you first what is in each of these, or what's in the collection. So, of course, we always start with the topper kit. Now, this has got over 100 foiled die cuts. It also has the foiled cardstock as well as the printed cardstock. You're going to make at least 16 cards, but you know, I predict you're going to make maybe double that. And there's also the Deck the Halls. This is the square little book. This is such a favorite of our customers, and it measures just under 5 inches square. There are 150 of 25 different images, so you're going to get lots of different pieces of that. We also have parchment, and there are 4 different patterns in this, and you're going to get 4 of each one, so lots of things to do. And of course, we always have the adorable scoreable cardstock. 30 sheets. You can see the color collection as they're going to go with the toppers and everything. And as I mentioned, there are these acetate. In fact, let me put white behind it. There are 4 jars. There are actually 10 sheets, so you get 40 jars. And I love the foiling around the edge as well as the foiling on the inside of them. So we will get started and show you what Heidi has done. And let me scoot this to the side. Quite a collection. So we'll get in closer to see this. And as I mentioned, Heidi has taken one of the jars and she has bowed it with a very different method that I will show you. And this is using the square little book. So let me show you that image. And because you get so many of them, you can cut out the layers and foam tape them together. And that's what Heidi's done. So she put this one and matted it onto the gold cardstock, our gold cardstock. And then she also covered the front of her card. Well, actually, her card is using this out of the adorable scoreable collection. Now, these are printed on one side. It's white on the back, which is kind of nice because you always have white. And Heidi created her card using this cardstock. So this is a 5-inch square card. So she took this piece and measured 5 inches by 10 inches. She used the adorable scoreboard to score in the middle and simply folded it in half. And that creates her card base. So that's where you're going to get the color. This, as I said, is matted onto the gold cardstock, and that's sold separately, and foam taped on the front of the card. And it's just a little bit smaller than the card itself. Now, let's get into that acetate because I want to show this to you. I did test it, and this is the one that you can see that it is bowed. Let's see, can you see that? Yeah, well, hopefully you can. And what Heidi recommended, and I have to say I wasn't sure about it, but I did test it, a bowling pin, okay, or anything that's got a curved base. Now, the trick with this is you want to keep it from rolling around. So you can put some tape on it, just regular, Scotch tape is going to be fine, just to hold it in place, because you do want to hold it in place. Okay, now the sheet of acetate has, as I said, 4 on it, and Heidi used this one, so I'm going to pop that out and also demonstrate it with you. So just like so. Okay, set that aside. Now you want to heat this with a heat gun, and you don't want to burn your fingers. So I don't know if you've seen this. This is called Handle It. It is a tool from Ranger, and it's got these little hands, and you can hold it. You can hold anything if you're doing heat embossing or anything, and use the heat gun without fear of burning your fingers. So let me just show you how this goes. So this is exactly what I did. So I just held it like that, bring the heat gun in here and just started heating it. And then it starts to curve because it's against that curved base. And you can kind of see it starting to move a little bit. Then I'm going to turn it off and kind of curve it down with my hand. So it's not as hot at that point. And I did this several times, and it just starts curving the more you keep that heat gun on it. Now, heat guns can get up to 300 degrees or more. So you just want to kind of work with it and let that curve. Now you could, if you wanted to, tape this down. That would be a good idea too. Tape this down and heat it, and it will curve nicely too. So you can see it's starting to curve as I've been doing this. So that will work. Okay, let me get my tape and my rolling pin out. It's probably the first time I've seen a rolling pin in a couple of years. So we will do that. Remember that, handle it tool. So that's fun. So what Heidi did is, with her curved base, she used the retractable penknife and cut a slit on each side. Okay, so that piece is going to, excuse me, that's wrong. She cut a strip on each side of this. Yes, that will work better, right here and right here. And then she could insert the acetate right in there, okay? And you're only gonna make the slit as long as that straight edge of the jar, because you wanna let it, you know, as I said, go over the image. So just like that, okay? So that's going to work nicely. Then what she did to further decorate this is she added those red flowers, and then also white. You could do ivory. These are the white heron blooms that she used. She did put a little bow with the 1/8 inch wide ribbon right here. Fun to have that bowed out, isn't it? And then in the topper collection, there is a bonus sheet. And so she's used that, and she's used it in several projects. In this case, it is the poinsettia right here, and it just gives some information about poinsettias, and I placed it here. So you've got the imagery just working so nicely, and I love that curved jar. I think that's really fun. When you mail this, if you want to, now this is pretty solid, but if you wanted to, you could tuck a little piece of tissue paper or bubble wrap or something underneath it just to get it through the mail nicely, and maybe put it in a little box. Now on the inside of her card, she has used another of the sheets out of the little book, and you can see this. She matted it on the light, and then also covered the inside with this kind of soft gold, and that will finish that card. Another bow, a couple little flowers dotted in place, and you've got a very unique card. So that's fun. While I'm right here talking about the acetate, let me show you something else that you can do, and I'll bring in some white cardstock so that you can see this a little bit better. Now, if you would like to give your jar even a little more definition, what Heidi did is she's used Stays On, or you could use the VersaFine, but you want to use a permanent ink rather than a dye-based ink, okay? So it's a pigment. And she simply dabbed in here with her blender brush and just went onto the edge of the jar, and I love that look. Now, if you have the black of the pigment inks, you can also use colors, but doesn't that do a nice job also? And of course, you have the foiling. So it is gold on one side, have to mention that, and it's silver on the other. So you have choices, but doesn't that do a nice job? So we've got lots of things going on with this collection. Okay, let's go to our next card, and I've got a little Post-it in here to remind me of what's going on. And so this has several of the toppers, as you can see. And let me show you the sheet that she used. It's this one. And I love what Heidi does in playing with the different layers of the foiling. Now, this gives you 3 of the big ones. So you've got this decorative edge, you've got a solid gold one, and then you've got the outer edge. Heidi only used the outer edge on this card. I think it's really nice. Now, she does have, this is our regular 5 by 6.5 inch card. And so she took this piece, this happens to be the foiled cardstock, but she only used the center of it for, no, that's not true. She used the bottom of it. There we go. Now, she did cover up the foiling, so that's an option for you. But it is this piece on the front. You can see it's turned on the side. You see the brown edge down there. And she has cut this a little bit smaller than her card and simply glued that down. Now, going to the topper that I was talking about, that outside edge, she glued it to this piece of the parchment. And then she just trimmed the outside of it so that when she placed this on her card front, you can see those beautiful snowflakes within the foiled edge. Just really pretty. Then she simply took some of the toppers, so you can see Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly. You can see this one that was turned on its side, so it's on point to become a diamond. Here is this little one that is from another sheet, and she has placed all of these, and also the star up here. You can see it's right there, and just done a really nice job. Now, I think it's fun that she used 2 types of ribbons. She used jute down here, and jute, as you know, there are so many colors, and they're 72 inches long, and so it goes a long, long way. I thought that was just really nice, something I don't know I would have thought of with Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly, so really nice. So wrapping it around and then doing a bow on the side. And then up at the top, you can see that sweet little bow was made out of the ivory ribbon set. And then let's take a peek on the inside of this card. Do you like seeing the insides? We get a lot of people who tell us that they really appreciate it. Now, on the inside of this card, she has used another sheet. This is the printed cardstock. And what is so nice is that the things coordinate. So we have another jar right here. So she simply put glue along the edges of the card and then placed this piece along the fold, even with one edge, pressed it down, turned it over, and trimmed it to fit. You can see that in our Card Making 101 series too. And we've gotten a lot of feedback on that. Now, the parchment can also be torn, and that's what Heidi has done here. So she's taken a piece that's about a 1/2 inch wide and about 4 inches long, and she's looped it together and then torn another one that is smaller to go over the center. So just popping that on the top with another bow and another of the foiled toppers on the inside. And that's what's nice with the way Hunkydory designs their things. That really completes the inside very, very nicely. And I love the look of the parchment. I hope you do too. Now, here is a square card, and Heidi has used one of the adorable squirrels to create this. And this card is 5.5 inches square. So you're going to take the adorable squirrel and cut it to be 5.5 by 11, and then score it in half and fold it. Now this time the fold is at the top, as you can see. So that's the beginning of that one. And here, so that's going to give you the green card, front and back. And on the inside, it's going to be white, as you can see right here. Now, she has gone into, again, that square little book. So she's really mixing and matching everything. Now, this is going to get matted onto a piece of the parchment. Here it is. Now, the parchment is printed on one side, which means it's going to be a more faded design on the other. So you can choose which one to use. Now, in this case, like I said, she was going to mat this and then put it onto the green cardstock. But what she wanted was for it to look a little bit brighter. So what she did is to take the white cardstock. There is white cardstock in this set, as I said, because on the back of every single sheet, it's white. And so she glued the parchment to the white. So you can see what a difference it makes. Yes, because it's parchment. So you get lots of color combinations. So she cut this to be 5 inches square and then glued a 5-inch square of the parchment on top. Now, if you're worried about gluing it, all you have to do is glue the middle of it, because this is going to be matted on top of it, and that's going to hold it down, and the glue won't show. So that's nice. And then that piece was going to go onto the front of the card, but before she did all of that, she tore another piece of vellum. Now, I'm got the vellum here, and I just want to show it to you on the card. You see how that holly goes over the top of the card? It's the top of the focal. It's not here, but that's what she used the parchment for. So she took the parchment, and I'll just do it with a piece of paper, cut it to be about 5 by 1.5 inches, and then just tore one of the straight edges. And then this is going to get placed over the corner like so, and just fold it over just like that. Then you'll do the same thing with the other one. So 2 strips. So you get 4 sheets of each of the parchment. So this is not even using a whole sheet for what we've just talked about. So this is going to go there and there. And then you can glue this onto the parchment. The other thing that she did to kind of, for the edge, now you can leave it torn as she did, or you can use the brown ribbon, and just you can see how that's just edging there and there, and a bow right there. Okay, then going back, remember on the very first card I talked about the bonus sheet you get? Well, the words holly is another one that she decided to pick up and go in here. So you've just created 2 little pockets right in there. Okay, and this is the baker's twine that's out of the brown set, so that works nicely. On the inside of the card, well, what she has done is she has taken yet another parchment piece. Okay, here we go. And this has pine cones. And so she's let this do double duty, just like the one did on the front of the card. So this is going to get glued on the inside of the card, allowing those pine cones to be against the fold. And then she has taken the greeting from the book of, it's a square little book of words. And there we go. She's got this, and then again, she wants to do something with the parchment at the top. So, same idea. Take that torn edge and just place it across the top. It's going to do about the same thing. A little bit longer than 5 inches, though. I think I'd do like 6 inches, and then just wrap it around the edges. Let it be at the top so you can decide how long you want that to be. And just glue this down. So again, lots of uses for the parchment. I like that. I love the fact that you can use them for windows too, the inside of a window. That's nice. Now she also added some of our gold jewel dazzles. You can see them in the corners. You can see them there in the snowflakes onto that sheet. So just adding a bit of touch. And this is also out of the red ribbon set. No, it's out of, excuse me, it's out of the glimmer set. Can you see the shine on that ribbon? I hope you can, because it's here in person, just really nice. Okay, so that is our 3rd card. We have one more. Let's see what the woman has done. And here we go. Now this card is also a 5 by 6.5 inch card. And it has a pocket. So we've got a couple of pockets on these cards. And here is another of the jars. So let me first start with the card. So the card is made out of the cardstock, the Adorable Scoreable. And let me show you. This is, as I said, it's 5 by 6.5. So it's going to, you're going to take this and cut it to be 6.5 by 10. Score it down the middle, fold it just like we've done. By the way, when you make a card like that, if you're wondering about envelopes, we do offer 10 envelopes to fit these cards, and they're just called 10 envelopes, so you can see them on the website. Okay, so that will take care of that problem. Now, let me show you what else is going on here. So Heidi has chosen this foiled cardstock to use on the front of her card, and I just love it when she does double duty with things. So as I'm holding this, you can see the heart right there. That's going to be cut to create a pocket. So she just cut right along this edge, nothing fancy, and you can see as I slip my fingers in here, let me see. Here, let me get a piece of paper in there just so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so you can see that she just went right along the edge of the pieces. Okay, so she's going to cut that to the size that is listed in the directions. By the way, down below you'll see all the cards, and Heidi has written out the instructions, so you can just click on that. It will take you to the printed instructions. You can print them out if you want to, or you can just read them, so whatever you like. Now in this case, so that's this pocket, but this other part of it is used up here. So this is going to be cut to the size shown in the directions, and it is matted onto the gold cardstock. Now I mentioned the gold cardstock earlier, but here is what it looks like. It is gorgeous, it is wonderful, and not very expensive. So that's really nice too. So okay, so this piece is going to do the card front, then this piece is going to do this pocket. So you're going to put tape, extra sticky tape, along this edge and a little bit right here, just to create that pocket. Okay, now what's going to go inside it? Well, Heidi again went to that bonus sheet, and here is that bonus sheet. You can see the poinsettia that she pulled out and just foam taped right there. And I'm hoping that you can see the dazzles, because there are red and green dazzles on here. You can see the green in the center. Now the dazzles come in 3 sizes. There's teeny tiny ones, medium ones, and larger ones. There's 540 on a sheet, and she has just placed them all over. So in the center of the snowflakes, in the center of the flower, around the edges, just really adding a bit of touch. Now, for that pocket, we have something to put into it. And what Heidi has chosen is she's taken, as you would guess, that sheet of acetate jars. She's taken this one out, and she has cut it the same shape as the brown cardstock. So here is the cardstock. Simply placed the jar on top and did not glue it in place, but just you can trace around this and then cut it out, no problem, and very easy to cut. Then she did some things inside this jar, and I'm sure you can see it, but she's gone to this sheet out of the topper set. And so here is the circle with the candle. Here is the circle with the pine cone. We've got with love. We've got deck the halls. All of these are overlapped. 2 are placed, the largest ones are glued down, overlapping. The other 2 are foam taped, and that works nicely. Now she wants to attach the acetate to the front of this. So all she did, well before, excuse me, one thing before, is that she used the Blizzard snowflakes. Have you seen these? They come in this tin, and they are really nice. And this is a brand new tin, so there we go. There are a gazillion, yes, a gazillion sequin snowflakes in here. And to place them, our recommendation is to take our trusty friend, the Cosmic Shimmer Specialist Acrylic Glue, and just make some dots, and then go back and place the snowflakes. Really, really nice. Now, that's going to do fine, but to attach the acetate, you can do a couple of things. You can take some glue stick and just rub it on a couple of areas of the pieces that are higher, the pieces that are foam taped. That will hold it in place. If you want to take some extra sticky tape, you could hide it under the top and maybe over one area, and that will hold it. You don't have to attach every piece of it. You can see how I can lift this up, but it's still going to stay there. So that works nicely. Now again, using the dazzles that she did on the front, she placed them over the snowflakes and on top of the acetate, whichever you want. And then the baker's twine comes from the red ribbon set, and so that was done on the front of the card too. Now, so this goes, and that's quite a generous guy, and that's just going to slip right in, just like so. On the inside of the card, I like what she did. I think it's really nice. So this is the printed insert, and she has taken this piece starting here, going over here, and before she attached it, you can see that she wrapped the baker's twine vertically around the piece, and that's nice. And then she foam taped one of the other toppers, in fact, this one, right here, and then did a bow on top. Now, she does have more of the snowflakes here that she has placed. Yeah, you can see it. There you go. So that's just a nice addition too. So a lot going on with those acetate jars, just a really super fun collection. So we, as always, begin with the topper collection, and that's right here. It's called Deck the Halls. Don't forget the parchment or the cardstock, and Heidi really did a good job of using that. And we also have that square little book of Deck the Halls. We have the acetate jars that are really fun. And all of this is part of our money saver. Where can you find that? Well, over on the right side of your screen. So want you to be able to take advantage of a little money saving, especially this time of year. If you're watching us on YouTube, we hope that you will like us. We hope you'll subscribe and click on the button, come on over to Paper Wishes and take advantage of that money saver. You can see all the instructions down below. And please let us know what you think. Always interested in knowing. I hope you enjoy decking the halls with this great collection, and I want to thank Heidi for doing a super job. And I will be returning the rolling pin to my drawer in the kitchen. Thank you, and we'll see you again next time.